Hello and welcome to Crucible of Words for more dedicated legacy action. Today we are going to showcase one of the new cards from Wilds of Eldraine, Up the Beanstalk. This is an incredibly powerful draw engine, so for 2 mana it cantrips on its own, not great, but with so many cards in our deck it does so much more. So we can do a big Forth Eorlingas to draw some cards, we can evoke a Solitude or cast a Solitude, we can cast a Force of Will to draw some cards. We also have Leyline Binding and Terminus, so lots of ways to draw extra cards with it. And then we're also a Yorion deck, so we can just blink it. And when you cast the Yorion, you draw a card, and when you blink it, you draw another card. So it's just a lot of card advantage here. And we're just tucking that into a pretty standard control shell here. We sort of changed up some of the removal spells we've got here. You know, we are running Solitudes and things because of how it interacts with Up the Beanstalk. But we've got a spicy little Comet Stellar Pup as well as another win condition that we can throw out. If you're unfamiliar with this one, it's just come to Magic Online. It's from the Unglued set or Unfinity or whatever that set's called. So you roll a dice and then you get some things. If you roll 6s, you get more things. So you're either making squirrels, you're returning a card with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to your hand, or you're dealing damage to something and then it loses some loyalty. So kind of a weird card. I played against it in paper a long time ago when it first came out. It seemed alright, but we're going to give it a whirl here. We're also a one-ring deck because it's just the most powerful draw engine you can have now. And the ability to fog for a turn is really potent. So yeah, that's what we're playing. We've got a couple of Wastelands in our deck here with the single life from the Loam, so we can recur them. We've got Uros as a nice finisher. Yeah, it's sort of the control deck that you see a lot in Legacy. The sort of Yorion Bant control here. Well, it's Bant splashing red, so it's kind of like a hot Bant list because Forth Eorlingas is just so strong. I think it's more interesting to talk about what's not in this list, and that is Prismatic Ending, which is a surprise to me. But we are running like the Solitudes and the Terminuses instead, so I wonder if we're going to find some trouble with some non-land permanents at some point. But I guess Leyline Binding can cover that up in a way that... So this is kind of our replacement to Prismatic Ending because it draws us a card with Up the Beanstalk more reliably, and it will cost us like 2 mana to kill stuff. We do have a Zagoth Triome here, so we're not really using black mana for anything, but this is just to help the Leyline Binding be cheaper. We got a fetch land mana base with 2 Mystic Sanctuaries in, and we've got here 1 Savannah, 1 Plains, 1 Island, 1 Taiga, 2 Trops, 3 Tundras because we are base blue-white for the most part. And we have 2 Volks as well. It's because when we want to dip into our red, we want to make sure we've got enough sources in there for it. Lorien Revealed is going to do some heavy lifting to find us the right islands at the right time as well, I imagine. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Spicy cards here is the Carpet Flowers and the Veil of Summer as main deck cards. So if you watch my video, which probably went up yesterday for you, where I played the Legacy Super Qualifier, I got really rocked by the main deck Carpet Flowers, and this is the exact deck list I played against. So this is the player who top 4'd the Legacy Showcase Challenge. Sorry, not to say the Legacy Super Qualifier, even. So the Carpet Flowers absolutely rinsed me. But we'll see how it all fares today. Sideboard-wise, we got some tools you'd expect, like some Pyroblast and some Meltdowns, Hydroblast, some Surgicals, and a few more Carpets. The Force of Vigor, we've got enough green cards to support this, so it makes sense. And then we have 2 Lavinia here, just to try and shut down some of these stormy type decks. This is going to be a sort of our Hateberry type card. And yeah, that's what we're working with today. So the game's probably going to be a bit longer. We're looking to sort of drag the game out and just beat our opponents with inevitability. So let's hop into it. Remember to like and subscribe, and let's have some Up the Beanstalk action. If you're looking to play Legacy on MTGO like me, why not try Card Hoarder? They're a rental service that I personally use, and I found them better than other rental services that I've used in the past. So why not give them a try? Alright, we are into the first game here. And our hand looks pretty keepable. We can lead out on a Carpet potentially. And we've got a Force of Will in case something really wild happens, so we're going to keep this. A basic island from our opponent. And a Ponder. So this Carpet Flowers is looking to do some reasonable work here. They did not shuffle off their ponder. Okay. I think they're probably going to fight over this Carpet of Flowers if they're a control deck. Hopefully they give us some information with what they pitch here. Oh, we're just in. Alright. So we have a Solitude or a Force of Will in the next turn cycle. We will not make any mana here. Maybe we're supposed to wait till they play a second land, but if this gets countered, then our Beanstalk doesn't get through. Whereas this way, if this gets countered, then our Beanstalk gets through. So I think it was worth playing on turn 1. Okay, our opponents decided not to play a land. Interesting. I think I would rather get a Teferi into play here. Now we have a second blue card. Then we're going to run onto Tundra here. Is that right? Or do we want a Volcanic down the line? Sure, I can go with a Volcanic here. And we'll cast this. Let's see if our Teferi resolves. The fact our opponent didn't play a land out. Okay, so we're looking at a Spell Pierce here. Spell Pierce is normally going to be a tempo card. I think we let this one go. I don't think we want to burn a Teferi on this one. Force of Will to protect our Teferi. Interested in play another island last turn. A Brainstorm. Okay. Okay, they're just putting them back. Interesting. We could try and slam down a Comet here. If that's the thing we're interested in. Or we could just try and get our Beanstalk up and running through soft permission. I think we'll do that. So the mana we're representing here could be something like a counter spell. Alright, so we're in with a Beanstalk. So now we have a Ponder. I'm pretty happy to cast a Ponder here. Because we don't need to crack this fetch land right now for anything in our hand, I'm not going to crack this first. So we can keep 2 cards off the Ponder if we want to. Or we can just keep 1 card. These are all very powerful cards. We've already played our land drop for the turn. So I think we're probably just going to put the Euro top, then the land, then the One Ring. Maybe we're supposed to bury the One Ring. But we're going to untap, draw the land, play the One Ring, and should be relatively easy to win a game once you've got One Ring up and running. I'm not sure what our opponent's doing over there. Spell Pierce is usually a tempo-y type card, so they chose to shuffle off of their Ponder. Okay. We've got a lot of cards over there. Sure, let's have some mana here. Not really sure what our opponent's up to. Now we'll get the Tundra, I think. Just have the One Ring. So they've got a Troll of Khazad-dûm over there. Is what they discarded. Which means they're probably somewhere in the blue-black scam spectrum of things. A Daze. Don't want to fight over this Daze. Considering our Force of Will's cantrip, I'm not opposed to that. We also do have a Solitude coming. Like, if we can stick the ring here, this matchup should be more or less over. Right, so we're getting a Force of Will out of our opponent. Pitching a Brainstorm. Okay, so we draw off of our Up the Beanstalk. We draw another Beanstalk. Can't pay for this. So the reason we didn't play this land first is in case we got the ring and we tapped it and we drew a land that we wanted to have to play around Daze later on. But we'll play our land tapped and we'll pass. Right, so there's the island again. Yes, we just get some green mana here. And we'll play Up the Beanstalk. An Uro. Let's play a land first. Let's draw some more cards, gain some more life. What are we going to find? Another Uro. Okay. So we can put an Uro into play next turn. Or we've got a Solitude which will draw us 2 cards. So we'll pay 2 cards for it and then get 2 cards from the Beanstalk. I'm not really sure what our opponent's solution is going to be here. That Wasteland is pretty late. I'm not really going to help them out too much. Going for our Savannah. Sure. Now we can make an error this turn, which is probably a fine thing to do here. So I think we'll make green here. Sure. We'll leave our instants in because we have Mystic Sanctuary in our deck. So if we want one of those, we can. I think In response, we will get a Mystic Sanctuary here and redraw the Force of Will. Alright. So we got Force of Will and Solitude, both of which will draw us 2 cards. I don't see how our opponent gets back in there if they are the sort of tempo deck that they are representing here. They'd have to have some sort of combo flourish. Alright, they played a second island for us. I hope our opponent is as annoyed at our main deck Carpet Flowers as I was when I was on the other side of it. A Murktide Regent. Sure. We can Solitude this and draw a bunch of cards. We can do it on our turn with the Carpet mana. Let's draw some cards from Up the Beanstalk. Let's kill the Murktide. Play a land, let's go attacks. Let's draw some more stuff. This game is over. We just need to finish the game, really. Give it a ponder. Sure, we've got another One Ring as well if we want some more cards. We just got cards for days here. We've got a pretty potent clock here. We need to go through all the motions of clicking quickly because we're a little bit behind on clock. Petty Theft. Do I care about this? Not really. Sure. Right, let's just do the Euro thing. Let's drop a Comet. Our hand is so juiced at this point. Let's roll some dice, I guess. I guess we get a Flooded Strand back. Good attacks. Yeah, so we've got Lorien Revealed, which we can cast, and it's a 5 mana, draw 5 cards. Pretty good rate on that one. We've got Force of Will and Force of Negation up. Pretty happy about the situation. A Watery Grave, so our opponent is probably playing Death Shadow unless that's a 5th Underground Sea. A Thought Seas. Sure. We've got so many cards here. All this is going to do is fuel our Uro. Right, they've gone for the Solitude. This means they might try and reanimate our Solitude. We have that covered with counter magic anyway. Yes, let's have some blue mana, I guess. Got some squirrels. Do some more Uroing. Play on the Beanstalk. Let's just deploy the Euro. Get tropical. We need to actually have another green source in here. I do. We got the Taiga. Right. Knew we had another one. And we can hold up Hardcast. Force of Negation if we want to. Sure. I don't mind if you just remember that. Like, we just have this crushing inevitability in this game. We've still got a Yorion that we haven't even tapped yet that we've got waiting in the wings if we need to. We're on 35 life against a deck that wants to try and get us dead via life totals. So, reanimate targeting our Uro. Okay, that's just going to get them 1 draw. They can do that if they want. So we've got 8 damage on board plus whatever Comet gives us. So hopefully we can just put this game to bed and then go to the next game. So you have to keep considerations with the clock. That's the only thing that can beat us here in this game anyway. Sure, you can ponder. Let's just do some Comet stuff. We're going to attacks. So that was the Larvax mode. You Larvax them and then you minus the loyalty. Alright. So we got game 1 very convincingly there. This is a matchup where I would very much like these Carpet of Flowers. Pyroblast has text, but I don't actually think it's where I want to be here. So what seems less than ideal in this matchup? Force of Negation isn't that exciting here. We're probably trimming these Forces of Negation for Carpet of Flowers. And we could trim this other Force of Negation. Although it's okay to counter things like reanimate in a situation where we might want that. We could have a Surgical Extraction as like a counter spell for reanimate. It kind of does the same thing. That's probably fine, and we're not 2 for wanting ourselves to do that. Sure, I think that's probably okay. Like, Pyroblast can kill Murktide Regent, but we have Leyline Bindings, we have Solitude, we have Source of Plowshares, we have Terminus. We just have better ways of doing that. Do you want Pyroblast to fight over to secure, I think? I guess Fire Ice isn't doing very much here. You can probably have one of those. Life in the Loam is nice. Carpet Flower is obviously nice. Yeah, I don't think I want to sideboard anything else out here. The one ring is something that maybe could be a Pyroblast, but I think that's fine. I don't think I can keep this on, unfortunately. It's Mulligan. Alright, this one looks fine. We can keep this. I don't think we're in the market for Forth Eorlingas just yet. We can put a Terminus on top of our library if we need an emergency kill everything and play button. Alright, an Underground Sea. We can get Thoughtseize on turn 1. Feels like it. Sure. Right, because our opponent is a Wasteland deck, we are going to play out this fetch land and keep that safe from any potential Wastelands here. Our opponent took the Terminus with the Thoughtseize. I don't think we want to cycle this Lorien Revealed yet. They're cycling a Troll of Khazad-dûm. Sure. This is something that could come into play as early as right now and cause us some issues. We've already played their land, so I think we're incentivized to Brainstorm here because we already have a play loaded up next turn with the Beanstalk. So we probably want the Tundra here because we already have a green source in hand. So let's go for a Tundra into Brainstorm. Have a Leyline Binding, we have a Force of Will. We have some lands here. Would I like to Leyline Binding this? Or should I just Force of Will it? I guess we could do both in a roundabout fashion, can't we? So if we put this back and this back, let's say no to the reanimate here. Alright, that worked. So now we will cast up the Beanstalk to draw a card, which will be the Euro. Next turn we can deploy the Euro. And then we are sort of well on our way at that point. Thoughtseize, that's pretty good. That will take our Leyline Binding here. And backside region. Okay, that's a very real clock here. The one ring. Okay, that's not a bad one. So what do we want here? Probably a tropical island. We really don't want to get wasted off of white though. That's probably worse than getting wasted off of green. Maybe we're supposed to get Tundra here. Because the removal colour is white, so that's what we want to make sure that they can't waste us off of in case we draw things like Swords to Plowshares. Right, we're in with the Euro. If we can find a land that makes green, we can put in an Euro next turn. Okay, so we're probably going to be looking at doing another front side of an Euro next turn. Thoughtseize, we're going to lose the one ring here. But this Euro can help us tread water for a little bit. We've got 3 more life coming in. So we're taking 6 from this, which is a 4-turn clock. But the Euro is going to push us up into 17 life, which isn't quite enough to stop it just yet. I would like to reveal Terminus. This will also draw us a card up the Beanstalk, which is pretty gross. And it's a land, so we can frontside this Euro. Jeez, our deck is mean. Okay, I think we're going to go and get ourselves a tropical island this time, though. Frontside this one. So green, green, blue. Surge Extraction would be pretty annoying. But our opponent doesn't have a threat in play. And we're on a decent amount of life. And we've got an answer for the next threat already. Nice. Our opponent is just playing land and passing. So let us escape the Euro. Green, green, blue, blue. Get rid of some lands. We'll leave the Terminus in there. Take a Brainstorm, we've got another one of those already. The Leyline Binding we can't get back. So this might be worth countering for them. It means that we just can redo it next turn. But it stops it coming into play for a turn. Dress down. Okay, so we're not going to gain a card out of it. We need to be pretty good about the clock here. So I think we're just going to F6 for our opponent's turn here. Ponder from our opponent. They chose not to shuffle. A Wasteland. Okay, so if they can Wasteland us off of green, off of double green or double blue, then they can try and get rid of this Euro and stop it coming back into play. But again, we still have a Yorion waiting in the wings. Now, we don't have the mana to cast a Yorion yet, but we have a Brainstorm to find some mana. Although our opponent could have Orcish Bowmasters. But we do have Plough for that, so things are okay-ish there. If they use the Dress Down... Alright, so they're tapping out of Orcish Bowmasters potentially here. Okay, so they've got a Murktide region that is smaller than Aruru. Let's go to attacks first. So we could have Brainstormed to try and find the land, but I think we're okay to Brainstorm now. I think we probably should have Brainstormed first. Be slightly cleaner. So we could have had both of these lands in play. So I think we put the Forth Eorlingas on top and then the Trop. And we'll play this Mystic Sanctuary. We'll get back this Force of Will for next turn. Now we can afford to just take the 5 from the Murktide here. We have them dead on the backswing. We don't need to remove this. They might have to chump block with it this turn. Yeah, looks like that's what's happening. So we're just saving our removal for the next threat. Alright, let's go to attacks. So this will draw us the Trop, if I remember rightly. And put this in. Just have to chump block. And we can just hold up with all this stuff here. We've got a Solitude, we can play instant speed, which also cantrips. We've got high cast Force of Will. Sure, you can Brainstorm. Sure, I don't care about that one. So the question is, are we supposed to plough this or Solitude it? If we Solitude it, we open ourselves up to days, so I think we're just going to plough this. There we go, that one worked out fine. Do a Brainstorm. Actually, no, let's not do a Brainstorm here. Let's just attack. We just hold up Force of Will here. I'm so far ahead here, we don't need to do anything. An Orcish Bowmasters. Okay. Again, that's fine. I don't care enough about this one. Interesting, they did it after our trigger resolved. You could have got a slightly bigger guy, not that I think it makes a difference here. Sure, we go down to 24. That's not a problem. Our opponent's got one card in hand. I'm trying to think what that one card could be. It feels like it could be a Daze. Alright, they're just chump blocking with the Bowmasters. Interesting. That might mean something like a Reanimate. And they're going to use that to buy more turns. We're now ahead on clock. Not by much though. Opponent's got one card in hand. It does feel like it could be a Daze, so I'm not going to walk into it. I will Brainstorm end of turn though. Will I? Yeah, we can do that. We've only got one card in hand. If it's Bowmasters, we can just Force of Will and get on with our lives. Surprised it didn't block with the Orc army. That was kind of suspicious. Okay, so we found the other land we wanted. We found all the things we wanted. We'll bury this one. And this, we'll go to our turn. Sure, I'm just going to take the 6 this time. That's fine. So if they attack, well, they're not going to attack with their Orc army. But they could do because they're not dead on board. But then we can just flash in a Solitude and have lethal damage. So we draw a card with our Up the Beanstalk. Very nice. We got a Solitude. We take out their Orc army. And then we can just bash them for lethal now. We have Force of Will. Chance of us finding another blue card, relatively high. Let's just attack with both of our guys. Alright, we got the match there. That felt elementary, to be honest. I think the matchup that these Beanstalk Uro decks have against the sort of tempo-y style decks here is just so good. Well, I was on the receiving end of it yesterday, and now I get to be the bad guy. Alright, let's get around to we're 1-0. I do not like this opening hand for round 2. It's very fragile. We're going to mulligan. Alright, load of lands. I'm okay with that. We got Brainstorm as well if we need it. I think we can get rid of the Loam here. Got 3 lands and a Brainstorm to find more. We got the emergency release valve of the Force of Will, and maybe we get to get all the way up to the 1 ring. Could be nice. Which of these lands do I care about getting wastelanded least? Probably the Volk, because that's the one we're going to bleed out with. Right, so they're cycling the Lorien Revealed to get a Tundra. Sure. So probably going to be playing something similar. But we have more value because we're going over the top with the Yorion stuff. Scalding Tarn. We just play this out and we can brainstorm on our opponent's turn. They haven't shown us black mana yet. But it's certainly possible they could have something like a Bowmasters in their deck. Let's see what they go and fetch here. Volcanic Island. Okay, so that's not a black source. So I'm not going to brainstorm in their upkeep here. An Uro. Yeah, it's annoying, but we have to be very careful with the clock here because this one could definitely go to time. They did not find a land. Interesting. Well, let's do an end of turn brainstorm. See if we can fix things up a bit. I'd quite like having a hard cast Force of Negation. I don't think we're going to need plows. We just want to make our land drops here. So I'm going to draw this tropical island. Actually, we might draw the plow as well, thinking about it. All right, let's just play this one out. Ponder, sure. And then a brainstorm. Okay. So I think they're looking for their land. There we go. And a ponder is probably going to shuffle away the 2 cards they put on top. And another ponder. Okay. So the first one shuffled away those brainstorm cards and then this. They've done a lot of sculpting. Sure. We can draw this plow, then we at least have an answer loaded for the array. I don't think we want to just slam this one ring. Well, our opponent is tapped out. So maybe we do. We like a green source and a white source. I think we want the... We can't get the Savannah here. What would be more important to us here? Another green? I think so. We do need another green source. That's probably going to be Trop here. We're going to try and force through this one ring. It's worth picking a fight over. Our opponent doesn't have any mana open right now. They're the sort of deck that's probably going to have Force of Will. But they're not... Any other counter spells they have are not going to be free ones. Alright, we're just in, are we? Alright, let's take a card. Alright, we are absolutely gassed up here. We have double Force of Will, and we don't care about pitching those cards because we have the one ring active. Up the Beanstalk. I do not want this to happen. So let's get rid of this Brainstorm. We have a draw engine. We don't want our opponent to have a draw engine. Leyline Binding. Do we want this? I'm just trying to work out if we want this. I guess we save a life point here. Because this will hit our one ring. We don't want that to happen. Right, so they have a force here. Okay, so we're going to lose our ring here. And a Wasteland. Are they going to fire this off? They are. Okay. I think we're going to see the Euro here. Oh, a Minsk-and-Boo. That's worse for us. That's something that can definitely beat us from where we are here. How are we supposed to beat this? I don't think we can afford to plow this. Then we just take this for now. We could Mystic Sanctuary a Brainstorm on top of our library. I think that's probably worth doing. Does take us off of white, but we have a white card in hand. So that's not too bad. Alright, Brainstorm. That's not what we want, is it? I think we put these two back. Drop this. Crack this for a Tundra. Use one of the Trops to make this Brainstorm. Oh, we're not going to get many more turns with this guy. Okay, so we have some stuff here. So, how greedy are we going to get? I guess the Force goes on top, and then it's probably the Binding. And then we can Binding... it's tough to say what we're supposed to bind there. We'll put the Binding on top there. And we will Beanstalk ourselves here. Get another card deeper, which is going to be the Binding. This costs 2 or 3? It costs 2, right? Because we have 4 types, yeah. Okay. Life from Loam targeting Wasteland. Not a fan of that, truth be told. We're going to lose our Tundra here. Then we need to deal with this Boo right now. Yeah, they've assembled their little Loam lock here. We can't cast our spells. So we're probably just going to lose this Minsk-and-Boo. Yep, the Wasteland is back again after the life from Loam. We now no longer have access to red mana. We can get bashed for 4 here. Ponder. It's got to be the best ponder in the world. So we're losing a land this turn. So none of this really helps us. Any order, shuffle. Okay, so this currently costs 4, but it will cost 3 if we get a land here. So we can kill this Minsk and Boo. I think we have to. Savannah or Tundra? Guess it's Savannah. The other option here is to take out their Leyline Binding and get the 1 ring back. But I don't think that's a recipe for winning the game. I think we need to deal with this Minsk because when you get the ring back, because we didn't cast it, we won't get protection. If we got protection, then I'd consider that line a bit more. If it was a come into play trigger instead of a come into play if you cast a trigger. A Brainstorm, sure. Our opponent did not dredge the Wasteland this turn. Alright, we're seeing something big here. It's going to be another Minsk and Boo. No, it's just going to be the Euro. That's obviously awful for us, but we'll see. So we can put the Yorion into hand if we have nothing else. I'm just thinking I think we might have missed a turn. We could have put the Yorion into hand earlier. Solitude that we can cast. Okay. I think we have to do that here, and the Euro has to go away forever, hopefully. So here comes Tundra. Cast this now when our opponent's tapped out. We get to draw a card because of our Beanstalk. We have Force of Vigor blue card. That's pretty handy. Take out this Euro. We're going to see a plow end step here. No, Mystic Sanctuary getting back. Lorien Revealed. Okay, we are definitely Force of Will in this Lorien Revealed if we get the opportunity to. Let's see if they dredge his life from Loam. I don't think they will, but they might do. They did not. Okay. So we get to cantrip of this because of our Beanstalk. Does our Force of Will resolve? It does. Okay. Source of Plowshares. Okay, that's not great for us. And Wasteland. Okay, so now they can life from Loam back 2 Wastelands. They can only play 1 a turn unless they have an Euro, but it does mean that they only have to do it every other turn or every 3 turns to keep us under the thumb here. Alright, Ponder, help us out. Lorien Revealed we can't cast. Fire's not going to do anything here either, so we're going to shuffle. Our own Wasteland. That's not really where we want to be here. I think we play this out though, in case I guess we can't even Leyline Binding if we draw it now. We have to tap our opponent's Boo this turn, I think. Take a card. Are we supposed to do it now? I don't think so. Alright, so got back the life from the Loam. I'm going to get back some scary stuff. There's a Wasteland. I think we go blue and 1. We're going to tap this Boo and draw a card. Up the Beanstalk. Right. Pretty grindy one. I think we should have used our Wasteland to do that instead. Alright, so we're going to go and put Yorion into hand. And that puts us to... What am I doing? That puts us to dead on board, doesn't it? Whoops. We're dead either way, I think. We get 1 more draw if we don't crack that. But, alright. So, Hydroblast for Minsk and Boo is essential. Carpet Flowers is going to be excellent here. Pyroblast probably going to be pretty good. We're going to want these Surgicals, their Uros. Are we looking at boarding out some of these Force of Wills? Because this is going to be a grindy matchup. We don't want to get stuck in it. Force of Negation I like because it gets rid of life from Loam. But I guess we are bringing in these Surgicals to get rid of Loam and Uro. So maybe we don't need the Force of Negations, or they can counter some stuff. We don't need the Fire Ice here. We probably don't need as many Plows. So we can trim on those. Veil of Summer is okay. It's more for black decks, but we can use it a bit like a Pyroblast to force something through. Terminus is another thing that gets rid of Uro, so I don't hate that. But do we need all of them? That would leave us with what? 4 Binding and 3 Solitude. I don't think we can trim on the Terminus there. Comet is just a thing that sits in play and generates us a decent chunk of advantage. Oh, this is tough, whatever this last cut is. Endurance is good here. Maybe we don't need 3 surgical extractions because we already have the endurance. So 2 surgical extraction, we can try and dig for it. Sure, we'll try that. This is not a keeper. We've got some loam underneath us. We've got a big payout here. We can just keep slamming rings until one of them works, basically. Right, so we will... I guess we'll play out this... The plains is a bit awkward, actually, isn't it? Let's play it like this and pass. Carpet of Flowers. Alright. I like this one. Do we need to play it now? I don't think we do. I think we can get our Life and Loam going, though. So we can just go and get a Tundra here. We can loam this back. Just make sure we're getting another land drop later on. Alright, so they're going to fetch out some islands here, I suspect, which means our Carpet Flowers is going to be excellent. Unless they're playing their own carpet here. They are playing their own carpet, okay. And they're going to go here, gain 2 mana. They might play an Uro here. Just to knock the Beanstalk, sure. We'll not dredge that. Alright. Let's play out a land. Let's cast this carpet. It doesn't give us any mana this turn, unfortunately, because our opponent fetched a Savannah to play their carpet. So we're kind of into slamming rings until they work, which isn't a terrible plan. Alright, triple reds. This is going to be Minsk and Boo. Okay. Understood. Without ever triggering our carpet either. And a Wasteland. Taking out a white source. Yep. Our opponent's deck is kind of similar to ours, but it's tighter because it's a 60 card list. So they're more likely to find the things they want. We will not dredge yet. They don't have any islands, that doesn't help. Alright. So next turn we can slam a ring and hopefully that does something. If our opponent tries to Life from Loam, we at least have the Force of Negation in hand that we can hardcast. So I have to worry about that whole side of the game. Would you like 2 mana, opponent? No, not yet. They might just fire this Boo at us with the Minsk and just draw 4 cards. They're pretty solid. Yeah, it feels like that's what they're doing. We can't really interfere with that as a thing because we don't have any stifle effects. Yeah, I think our opponent's just absolutely done us here. Lavinia. Okay. So that's no Force of Wills. We can Force of Negation still. This means they're less worried about us getting mana from the carpet because we can't cast things more than the CMC of the lands we have anyway. Yep, so now they're going to draw 4 cards. I think this game is over. Minsk and Boo is just a lot better than Comet. Not that we've drawn Comet here, but... Alright. Our opponent's having to discard cards. That's how well they're doing over there. Get some blue mana. Play this, cast the 1 ring. They got Force of Will at cantrips because of Up the Beanstalk. There it is. Yeah, I think our opponent has well and truly done us here. The deck is a much tighter package than ours. Yep. So we go down to 1 life this turn, which makes the ring not such a great prospect. So we need to Terminus and then drop the 1 ring. Not great for us, truth be told. But at least this has been a relatively quick round, I suppose. We did not draw what we needed there. So yes to this. Red, I guess. We're just doing this for the trigger. My opponent's got counter spell, we lose the game. Alright, they're cracking. Okay, they're brainstorming. Because if they find a counter spell here, then the game is over. They've seen a lot of their deck at this point as well. Alright, so we're live for another turn. So we need to draw Terminus into something. Our 2 fetch lands are currently turned off. Force of Vigor on our Carpet Flowers. Can't do anything about that. We need to draw Terminus into Binding. So we need to draw 2 cards somehow. So we need a Brainstorm. But then how are we going to Terminus? Yep, I'm not really sure how this one can pan out in a way. I guess we could draw Comet and then... I guess we can't draw Comet. I guess we could draw a land or a Comet, tap the ring, get a Comet, and just hopefully roll infinite 6s until our opponent dies. That's not a great strategy, but it's probably the only thing that can win from this spot. A Leyline Binding. This can resolve. Was this going to target the ring? Oh, we're F6'd. We could have drawn a card if we were paying more attention there, but we just F6 for time. An Uro. I do not believe this is going to make a difference. So. Hydroblast. No, we're dead. Yeah, we got pretty crushed there. Like I said, our opponent's deck is a lot tighter in terms of what they have in it. We obviously have the Yorion, but we never really got in position to leverage that because they're running things like Minsk and Boo, which just end the game very effectively, which is something that I feel our deck could probably do with, to be honest. It's just such a powerful single card that also dodges things like Pyroblast quite nicely. Yeah, we kind of got crushed. I think the one thing that maybe we would do differently was in the first game where we decided to pick our fight with the Force of Will, maybe we could have done things a little bit differently there. Instead of trying to force through our ring, we maybe could have protected ourselves versus their Minsk. So, I don't know. Alright, let's go to round 3. Right, we're on the play. Our opponent is a 61 card deck, which means they're either Oops or Spells, or they are like a deck that's got some tutor targets, so whether it's like a Reclaimer or a Green Sun Zenith, that sort of thing. But we have a Brainstorm, we have a reasonable hand here. I don't think I'm going to mulligan to try and find a counterspell to beat Oops or Spells. Our opponent isn't a name I recognise as an Oops or Spells player. So we have choices here. I'd rather not have to do this Flooded Strand to Brainstorm, as I'd rather Brainstorm with a fetch land up. But I don't want to play out a land that can get Wastelanded. Verdant Catacomb. So we're not Oops or Spells. That's good news. For our hand, at least. Up the Beanstalk. So I don't know if our opponent is going to be like a combo-y deck or not. I think we're just going to deploy the Beanstalk. We get Trop here. Now we've got reasonable tools if they are trying to do some reanimate shenanigans. So they could crack this and then entomb. And the alternative there is holding up Brainstorm and hoping that we can hit a thing. Okay, so we didn't do an entomb. And hoping that we hit a counterspell. Right, a basic forest. Cracking their Verdant Catacombs to find a Savannah. So we could be looking at some sort of Mavericky style deck perhaps. Prismatic Ending on the Beanstalk. Okay, that's already a 2-for-1. So it replaced itself, so I'm not angry about that. We'll Brainstorm off of the Tundra so that we can cast a Beanstalk if we find one. We've got a lot of resources here. I don't think we need double binding just yet. So we can put a binding away and probably one of the lands. That's probably volcanic here, isn't it? Then we play the Scalding Tarn. So we can flash in a binding if we need to. Actually, no, we can't, right? Because we don't have a plateau. We have 3 types now. We need a red source. Kind of just happy to keep making lands here, so just take this volcanic. I think we can jam the One Ring. So we want a green source here so that we can cast our Uro when we get there. So it probably means Tropical Island. We already have a second white source in hand. Our opponent has shown us Abzan colour, so I'm not expecting this to get countered. I'm expecting just to have a nice One Ring that we can enjoy. There we go. So they're flashing this Bowmasters in. Interesting. They don't really have a good spot to do this. Do we want to counter the Bowmasters? I don't think so. We've got removal in hand. Yes, they get to ping us for 1 here. A Knight of the Reliquary. Not a fan of that one. Let me fire this off, pitching probably the Force of Negation. I don't think this is going to be a great matchup for that card. Now there could be a natural order deck, and then we might regret that. Right, so attacking into our ring, so that's not going to do anything. So we lose 1 life from the trigger. Force of Will. Let's cast this, so white and green. Let's just get rid of this Bowmasters and draw some more cards. Because this is game 1, we'd have to worry about like a random Force of Vigor hitting this, so we're just going to draw ourselves some cards and work out which land drops we want to make. Lorien Revealed, that's a pretty nice one. We've got a Force of Will if we want it. We could Teferi bounce, but then we lose our Teferi, so I think we're just going to pass here. We could Brainstorm, but I'm kind of happy to use the Brainstorm to pitch to Force of Will and then just gas up with the Lorien Revealed even more. We can also Teferi bounce our own 1 ring when the time comes. Yep, we take 2. We'll take another 2 in our turn. A Knight of the Reliquary. Again, I think this is worth counterspelling here. We're not going to be short of cards because we got the 1 ring in play. So, right, we take 3. Up the Beanstalk. It's pretty good. Let's draw some more cards, and then we can navigate this turn. Alright, let's just put an Uro into play. So this is green, blue, and this one. This gives us 3 life. Certainly helps here. Puts into play. We can play an Up the Beanstalk here. Draw some more cards. So I need to get green source. Wait, do we need, it has to be a Taiga, right? And this one is probably going to be another Tundra. I'll cast this. Another card. Okay, so we've got a Force of Negation for something scary like a natural order. We've got a Solitude if we need it, and then we can Teferi bounce our own ring next turn. And just deploy our Uro there as well. Noble Hierarch, we do not care about that one. Sure, they can bash us for 2. Do you have to worry about a Bowmasters in response to our ring? Because we're going to tap it before we do anything. Okay, we don't have to worry about that. And Endurance. That's kind of an annoying one. Because we're relying on that Uro. But we can deal with that. Like, we're going to draw a lot of cards here. And we can always just replay the ring as a fog for a turn. Yep, so we're going to take 3 damage here. Solitude. It's not a bad one. Let's draw some cards with the ring while it's there. And what are we playing here? We play out this. So we have blue mana. So we'll play this one out. We will bounce the ring here. We can cast the Solitude, draw a bunch of cards, or we can play the ring, just have another free turn of doing stuff. I think I would rather cast this guy. Yep, we'll draw some more cards. It's pretty gross. Get rid of this. We have 11 cards in hand. We can drop some fetches here. So Life Tail's a little bit squiffy. I think we need the ring here. Maybe drop the other fetch as well. We have a lot of tools here. We have an emergency Solitude if we need it. We can also pitch cast the Force of Negation. The Solitude also draws us a whole bunch of cards when we cast it. So let's see what our opponent wants to do. Sheoldred's Edict. Opponent's got 2 cards in hand. How much damage would we take here? 2 damage. That's acceptable. We don't want to get caught by a natural order, so I don't think it's worth burning the Force of Negation on that. Yeah, so one's coming at me, one's coming to Teferi. Pretty sensible. I would not like our opponent to have an Orcish Bowmasters here. But I think we're going to play this Beanstalk and see if that gets a Bowmasters out of our opponent. It does not. Okay, now we also have a Force of Will. Alright, so we can flash in this Solitude and block with it. Right, so they're cracking in their upkeep for marginal thinning, I assume. I think the smart attack there is just attack with one guy, but right, so white, white, and we'll leave up one white in case we need to flash in this Leyline Binding for a Bowmasters. And there's the Yorion. We will get rid of the Dryad Arbor because if we get to Teferi, we can bounce an Orc army. It's going to be another Shoulder's Edict. It is. I think this one I'm okay to counterspell. And I don't think we need this Ponder. Because we have the Force of Will saved up anyway. Plow with only one card in our opponent's hand. That's fine. We're gaining the 3 life there. I'll take that. I'd rather protect our Uro. So I think we cast the front side of the Uro here. Our opponent might be considering whether or not to scoop here. We're not going to bother with Forth Eorlingas here. We're just going to redeploy this now. So we want blue, blue, green, green. Exile some lands and the One Ring. Solitude, sure. So this just pads our life total. It will give us another card. And then we pass. We have Force of Will available. We have Leyline Binding available. This game should be over. A Knight of the Reliquary. That's fine. We can Leyline Bind that. Because the Zagoth Triome only costs 1. And we just draw another binding. Get rid of this Knight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 mana. So I can make 20 power. It's not quite lethal, is it, this turn? This Carpet Flowers doesn't look great. But that's fine. Let's play this one. I like another Force of Negation. Sure, why not? No natural orders or Green Sun Zeniths coming for me. We'll brainstorm in response here. See if we can find a land. We did find a land. So we put this carpet in the bottom and then the Forth Eorlingas is fine. Crack this. Let's get Tundra. Actually, we don't really want to put that in our hand, do we? We might as well just play this out just to keep ourselves protected from whatever. And then we just pass and discard the 0, I suppose. Alright, opponent. I'm going to attack you with many horses next turn. Coming for 2, that's fine by me. A Green Sun Zenith. We will just cast this for regular mana and say no. Now our opponent's tapped out, we will just make a bunch of horses and end the game. Oh, I missed 2 horses there. It's still enough, but... Alright. First things first, let's get this Carpet Flowers out. That's not really what we need there. Veil of Summer can have some useful text here. But what are the other cards in our deck that we want here? Honestly, I don't think we want any of them. Looking at our deck, it's just so kitted out to beat these sorts of matchups. Yeah, like maybe one Surgical over that Carpet is fine. Yeah, I think that's probably about it, because they might have some sort of graveyard recursion. Sure. But this matchup is our bread and butter. Alright, our opening hand is okay, as long as we can get this Ponder to do something. So we might be getting a basic island first. We'll keep this. Our opponent might have something like a choke in their deck. But we have the Leyline Binding to get rid of that. Noble Hierarch is fine by me. And we'll just get basic island, because these decks sometimes have Wastelands in. The One Ring is pretty good here. Force of Will, pretty good. Let's just draw that, and then we'll draw the One Ring, and then we can shuffle away the other land, because we've got enough lands in our hand. And then we can just dump the One Ring on our opponent, and ride it to victory, which is pretty much what happened in game 1. We've got an emergency Force of Will for anything scary. I wonder if I would Force of Will a Knight to the Reliquary. It's an interesting choice. Green Sun Zenith for 1. I think we'll let that go. It's going to be like another Hierarch. Yeah. This feels like they're building up for a natural order. Yep, we'll take the 2 here. It's not a particularly explosive clock. Yep, so this turn we are just on the... We get green source here. So it has to be a trop. And it's even worth us casting this now. We're just going to discard one of these anyway, aren't we? Is this tempting enough for a Surgical Extraction on Flooded Strand? An Endurance. Sure. I don't care that much about that. I kind of wasted our turn a little bit, but it wasn't a particularly exciting turn. The other option was to not crack a fetch and just sit there. Surgical Extraction. Honestly, I don't care. That's the only copy in the deck. Our opponent wants to burn a card on that. Like, they burnt 2 cards with the Endurance there. Because they pitch cast it. They pitched a Questing Beast as well, which would have been an annoying one. Because that gets around the 1 ring's protection clause. So yeah, I think our opponent is very far behind. Even though they have double our permanents. A Hex Drinker. With 1 mana left, with 1 card left in their hand. Okay, I think we can answer this with a Leyline Binding. There's a protection from instants and sorceries, right? For an instance, yeah. So it doesn't have protection from Leyline Binding until it's fully maxed. They're going to attack with their Hierarch here. They are. Sure. So the Hex Drinker really does confirm they're like a full-on Maverick deck rather than like an Abzan Depths deck, which has similar cards but goes in a different direction with it. Right, we'll cast this on our opponent's turn, see if they attack with just the Hex Drinker or if they funnel any mana into it. Because this gives it protection from instants, this is an enchantment, so I can only be able to get it to 8 this turn. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have a Cradle though. I could flash in an Endurance and trade with it instead. I like the Binding more. What do I? Opponent's got 2 cards in hand. I think I like the Binding more. They can't Force of... Well, I guess they can hard cast Force of Vigor it. Or they can Force of Vigor it in our turn. Seasoned Dungeoneer. That one can get right out. No, thank you. Opponent's down to 1 card in hand. Surprised they're running that. It's unusual. Normally you see the 4 mana one that's green that you can shoot it for. I do like Up the Beanstalk, but I would rather get our 1 ring going. Now we can get a little bit punished if our opponent has a choke here. They only have 1 card in hand, so let's draw now before any Bowmaster shenanigans happens. Alright, so we can draw a lot of cards next turn. And then we can think about doing stuff with Yorion. There's a Wasteland, okay. Not that great because we are just going to draw a bunch of cards. So, right, I've taken out our non-island land. That makes me think they have a choke. It was a Birds of Paradise, not a choke. Okay, we are fine. I think this game is over now. I think that was the one way that this game could have fallen apart for us. Sure, I revealed Terminus. Wowzers trousers. Let's get the Beanstalk down. Draw some cards with 1 ring. Right, we got Force of Will as well. We just need to dig into like an Uro or something. We can also blink our 1 ring with Yorion to reset it. Okay, just had a land. Teferi can bounce us as well if we find it. Okay, so there's the Uro. So now I'm happy to draw. Ridiculous card. Green, blue. Let's get the front side of this Uro down. Right, can we find a land? We cannot. We have to pass. I think we want to keep this 1 ring. I think get rid of a Brainstorm. Actually, no, that's a blue card, isn't it? We need the 1 ring. We need blue card Force of Will. I guess we don't need the second Brainstorm, so I was probably right on that one. And the Terminus is okay. I think we'll get rid of one of the bindings. It's a case of having my diamond shoes too tight there because we just have all of the things. We just need some mana. What's this going to be? A Green Sun Zenith where X equals 2. No, we'll just hit that. We want to draw some more lands. Yes. Say no to Green Sun Zenith. Because that could be something like a Gadok Teague which could jam stuff. Okay, they're just scooping it up there. We've got the engine assembled here. We're not falling behind our opponent who's drawing 1 card a turn, and we're drawing like 4. All right. Yeah, the only thing we've lost to so far is the control deck. Let's go on to round 4. All right, this opening hand is okay. We can do some pondering and get into the game that way. Let's see what our opponent's on. We're on a 60-card deck with Tropical Island. We can ponder off of this island in case our opponent is on this sort of tempo plans. I don't mind having a Force of Will as emergency, and I don't mind having more lands if this is a control matchup. So let's keep these going. We just want to keep making land drops because all of our spells are great. So if we can just keep making land drops, then we'll be having a great time. A Brainstorm from our opponent. No second land. All right. That's some information that our opponent's just given us. Tempted to get the Zagoth Triome here. Another Brainstorm. They get to see 1 more card here. Alright, they're scooping it up. So Brainstorm off of just a Tropical Island. I don't know. But the best cards in green, blue is Uro. So maybe we want these. I think Carpet Flowers is probably going to be okay here. Pyroblast is probably going to have something here. So these are the things we can think about. I don't think we want to bring in a whole bunch of Surgicals. We don't necessarily know if we want them. I think the Pyroblast is better than a Veil here. The Carpets are genuinely great. I don't know where on the spectrum they are of different decks, so let's get rid of this Fire Ice. That gives us another Carpet Flowers. Need to find 4 more cuts if we want all of these. I don't know how much we're going to need Force of Wills and things. And Endurance. It's kind of all a mystery to me. I think Comet is probably the weakest thing here, to be honest. You can maybe trim on like a plow. And maybe trim the Comets here. That gets us these 2. And then we just need to find room for these extractions if we want them. I don't know if we do though. Then we have enough for other removal. Let's run it like this for now. I like that we get to make land drops and we kind of have an emergency release valve, but I'm not in love with this one. I think I will keep it. We can always put Yorion in hand as a card for our Solitude. Alright, so we're looking at some sort of rug deck, but there might be other colours in it as well. I'm unsure whether we're supposed to be using our Wasteland or not. We haven't really got anything else going on. Let's just see. We know our opponent likes to keep some hands without a lot of lands in, so maybe... Because our opponent kept what was on top of their library based on knowing they were going to play a land. Okay, I think we'll play out this Flooded Strand and pass. So we have Force of Will or Force of Negation. The next turn we can just develop our mana and play a Brainstorm. Right, let's see what we're getting at here. Is this going to be a Tarmogoyf, perhaps? Up the Beanstalk. I don't think we can allow this to resolve. It just gets out of hand way too easily. It's the Force of Negation that goes here. Right, so they're fighting over this. What this also does is gets the Force of Will out of their hand, so at least it's not in play for the Beanstalk. Because then they can't get a cantripping Force of Will. I feel like we need Narsets in our deck for this sort of matchup. The One Ring. Alright, I think we're going to get a little Brainstorm going here. I've got this Mystic Sanctuary, I wouldn't mind throwing back. Yeah, these are good cards. They've got 2 lands over there. I think there's 3. I think we need this Solitude right now. Playing this Carpet right now doesn't... The only reason we might want to do it is so that we can play around counter spells, but I think it's better off to hold up the Pyroblast and play the Carpet next turn and get a big jump into the ring with Pyroblast backup. And the more lands they have, the better the Carpet's going to be. Alright, I don't think I want this Solitude. Well, maybe I do. Just as like a emergency thing that we can kill a scary Euro with. Alright, so this one gets us the Trop. This one gets us the Volk. We're going to do it now so there's no awkward timings when we're casting our spell. And we'll cast this Carpet of Flowers. We'll go to our second main phase. We've already got one Force of Will out of our opponent. Just going to be a Force of Negation? It is going to be a Force of Negation. That's a bit awkward. Now, if they just slam a Minsk and Boo, we lose the game, I think. They did not slam a Minsk and Boo. Or they could play a Carpet and then slam one. Carpet of Flowers, too good. Life from a Loam. Yeah, that's a lot of land drops our opponents secure for themselves. Right, I think we're going to get some blue mana going here. And get some Brainstorms off. Okay, so we have the one ring. I'm certainly a fan of that. Play land. So we want a white source. We also want a green source here. So I think we want a Savannah. We'll cast this with Pyroblast backup this time. Is this going to be a Brainstorm digging for an answer? Or are they going to have something cheeky like a Spell Pierce? No. This is going to be a Leyline Binding here. What? They're going to cast? They did not. Interesting. If we can untap with the ring. Oh, wow. They're off it. All right. All right. So, yeah, that was the 4th round. We're going to the 5th round. We are 3-1. So positive record locked in. Let's go. Not a big lover of this hand. It does have some stuff going for it. But we would have to lead out on the Mystic Sanctuary, which is not great. We have removal. Quite like to find a blue card for this. I guess we'll keep it. It's about time we ran into a combo that just steamrollers us, to be honest. I think we might be facing that steamroller in. Now we probably don't have to play the Mystic Sanctuary out because we draw another land. So we might be on a weird line where we do a little Forth Eorlingas on turn 3 and just try and get some value that way. But it depends on what our opponent's on here. I'm getting Doomsday vibes for some reason. But hopefully they're on like a fairer deck. So we have to work out if we're playing around Opposition Agent as well in a second. Playing around Opposition Agent, we're playing around Wasteland. I guess we can emergency picture Solitude if something goes wrong. A Ponder, okay. Right, Misty Rainforest. A Trop. What flavour of deck is our opponent on? Let's see a Beanstalk. Holding up Bowmasters by the looks of it. Up the Beanstalk. Right, let's go and get ourselves a Trop here. Let's go to Beanstalk Town. If we have the Bowmasters, we can use a Solitude. There's the Bowmasters. So we can Solitude this now if we want to stop them getting one additional power. I don't think that's that important. I think I'll just take the damage here. So now we have the Force of Negation up. So if we want to do a Solitude, we can do it on our opponent's turn. A Ponder from our opponent, sure. The only issue with the Solitude is their Bowmasters will get to ping us one more time before we take it out. Right, we're going to try and get rid of the Bowmasters now. They will get to ping us for 1 and grow their Orc army. But it's a token we can bounce with Teferi, we can destroy in various ways. Another Bowmasters. That's a little bit annoying, truth be told. Time for us to Terminus, I suppose. Now I'm debating whether or not we're supposed to just take this Orc army out. I think we are. Oh no, we're getting a Force of Will here. We can pay around a days here. Alright. Let's get our Solitude. I think we have to take out the Orc army here. Oh, they got another Force of Will here. We're really fighting over this one. But at least we know what the matchup is. So we take 6 here. I really don't want to draw the Triome here, so I'm just going to fetch it. We've got white sources here. Alright, our opponent's got 1 card in hand. Let's get Tundra. Let's make the One Ring. So now I get protection of everything. I can draw a card. I guess it doesn't matter if we do it now. Yeah, they get to grow their guy. They can just ping their Orc army here. So we're protected with our One Ring here. Leovold. That's a real issue. We can't draw additional cards. But I think our deck does go bigger than our opponents. So post-board we know what we're playing against. Things are going to be a little better. So the One Ring's going to deal 1 damage to us. We're not going to be able to draw any extra cards with it. We can draw a card on our opponent's turn if we want to. We don't really have anything good to put on top of our library there. So we play this one out. Suppose we jam here. Keep this one. We can draw a card in our opponent's turn, because Revealed is no more than one each turn. Sure. Like, we're not beating what they've got in play without finding another card, so... Yeah, we understand. You have a massive guy. So we make the same play next turn, trying to draw into a Terminus. Yep, I know, Ron Ring, I know. Uro. We can't really afford to play the Uro. We don't have anything we want to put on top of our library yet. So I think we play this Valley. There is a Brainstorm. Okay, we'll let them brainstorm. See this one. We're trying to, in our opponent's upkeep, draw into a Terminus. We did not draw into Terminus. Okay. Now our out is looking like we have to Comet and hope that we just roll nothing but sixes. Yuck. Narset Part Reveals. I don't like this one very much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we can play Uro next turn, but we're going to be dead to all their attackers anyway. No, we gain 6, right? So we'll go up to 10, but we go down to 9. We can chump block here. We take 3, 4, 5. So I guess we have to let this one go. We will get attacked by an 11 power creature and laugh it off. So I think we're going to crack the Scalding Tarn now, just to thin the deck slightly. Solitude. What does that do? So we can exile this, but if they don't attack us, that doesn't work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if we play the Uro, we gain 3 life, and then what? I think our best bet is to do the Solitude here and try and gain some life in combat as well. We do have the Force of Will if we need to. That's what opponent reveals with the Narset. Force of Will. Okay. Him to Torak. Yuck. If we flash in a Solitude now, I guess we have to flash in a Solitude now. This doesn't do anything because of the Revealed and the Narset. Oh wait, no, we do draw the 1 card here, and then these ping us down to death. Yeah, no, they just had us there. Alright. Okay. So, Pyroblast probably going to be good here. We just saw like Bowmasters and things like that, so also Carpets are going to be nice. The Veil looks pretty spicy here. Fire kills the Bowmasters, so I'm into that. Not really convinced on the Comet. Well, I suppose making 1/1s is pretty good in this day and age. Do we want a 2-for-1 ourselves? Look at something like these and one regular force, leave 3 forces in. And we're just trying to remove all their guys as a general rule, but we got a few things in case they've got something that goes big. That seems fine to me. Yep, this hand is great. We will be playing out a Trop here and getting our Carpet online. Our opponent isn't a white deck, so they haven't got like prismatic endings and things. This is Force of Willable for sure. But then we can just follow up with a Beanstalk into a Beanstalk, or a Beanstalk into an Uro. Yeah, there you go. 1 mana Him to Torak. Bio, they're going to Thoughtseize us here. Our hand's very Thoughtseize redundant. A Delighted Halfling, okay. Another reason why we want to trim on some of our spells there. We're going to want the Trop. Sorry, not Trop, the Tundra at some point. So I think we get it now. And just go up the Beanstalk. This is not a May though, which is interesting. Right, so a Plow, so we have Bowmasters covered. So we can Uro into Plow next turn. It's going to be a Revealed. It is, sure. So now I have to Plow into Beanstalk, I think, this turn. Our opponent does get a card out of this. Play this. Let's Plow this Revealed. Yes, you get a card. But we also get a card. Up the Beanstalk. Alright, so we've got Endurance, so we can play to the board as well. We can get attacked by the halfling here. We are. So they pondered, they didn't shuffle, and they played a Dryad Arbor. Force of Will only goes so far, really, doesn't it? It stops a natural order, though. So let's go for green, green, blue. Let's get an arrow down. So we have Force of Will, which will also draw us 2 cards, which is gross. Veil of Summer. This is just to draw a card for them. That's fine. They just cantrip in. That's fine. I wonder if they brought in Force of Vigors for our Beanstalks. Doesn't feel like a great place to be because they've already got cards. Alright. Are they going to take out our Tundra here? They're going to take out one of our Trops so we can't make the Euro easily. Because that's both of the colours for Euro. So if you hit that, you're always going to set Euro back a turn. Okay. Not a fan of this. Not a fan of this. We do have an endurance for next time around. But, bit rude. I would like to try and draw a card here, but I think it's just too important to get our endurance going. So I think we get another Trop here. Wait, we don't have another Trop, do we? So we have to get a Savannah. Just get rid of this Life from Loam. I don't want to play that game. Okay, they're scooping there. They just want to have enough time to play the 3rd game because these matchups can go a bit grindy. So now that we've seen the Life from Loam, I kind of want some amount of ways of interacting with that, whether it's the Force of Negation or the Surgicals. Force of Negation is a lot more general purpose, and we'll trim one of the forces, and I think we can probably trim a Solitude, and then we have to decide. I'm not sure we need all these Hydroblasts. They haven't shown us. I guess they've shown us Revealed, but they seem green base, just with a little bit of blue splash. So maybe it's the Force that goes. I'm just leaving the Force of Negations. Alright, we've got removal for stuff. And then we can just eventually go into a 1-ring pattern. And just try and get that game won that way. Sure, I'll keep this. Let's see what our opponent begins the game with. A tropical island, we're going to see a ponder or we're going to see a halfling? We're going to see a halfling. Are we supposed to kill the halfling? The fact that we've just drawn that means yes. Let's go and get ourselves a Tundra. We could get ourselves a basic plains actually. Means this Mystic Sanctuary is almost certainly coming in tapped though. Now we'll get a Tundra. Bolt the bird. It's not a bird, it's a halfling, but same principle. Misty Rainforest. So pass here, then we have to keep in mind that Bowmaster is a thing. Okay, so we're just getting a Brainstorm here. So next time we can hold open a Pyroblast if we want to. We could get Thoughtseize this turn though. There's an Underground Sea. Okay, so depending on what they take here tells us a lot about their hand. If their plan is to just play a Revealed, they're going to just snap off our Pyroblast, I think. Because that's the cleanest answer we have to it. This reminds me of like probably about 8 years ago. There was like a whole glut of Revealed decks around. It was real good. Feels like we're heading back there. Okay. Let's crack this off for a Trop. And we're going to ponder. Leyline Binding, Leyline Binding. Okay, so I think we're going to sandwich the Flooded Strand here. Pass. So this is the turn they play the Revealed. So Revealed says spell or ability, I believe. Oh, just a Narset. Interesting. Okay. What are they going to reveal to us? Show me your secrets. A Brainstorm. Okay, that's not a business spell yet. Do we want this other Leyline Binding? So this currently costs 3 to cast. So I think we have to do this if we want to cast it. So this gets us the Volcanic, since we have red spells, including one in hand. I don't care if our opponent 2-for-1s themselves here. We'll hold open the Pyroblast mana here, and that will scare our opponent a bit. Yeah, so let's get rid of this Narset. That'll turn on our card draw, and it will also stop our opponent from digging. There's the Brainstorm we've already seen. Okay, so they brainstormed, and they've got a fetch land to shuffle it away with. They're holding open Bowmaster's mana. There is the Bowmasters. We'll cast Fire. Killing these two. Holding open the Plow. A very clean answer. Then play this out. I think I would like the Pyroblast here. We've already got creatures covered, so I want to keep spells covered, I think. So it wasn't the Leovold they were trying to resolve, it was the Narset earlier on. But the scariest things in their deck are Leovold and Narset, so the Pyroblast is a nice bit of insurance for that. Now they've shown us him, which can just rattle through us quite nicely as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Grist out of our opponent either. There's the Grist. Opponent's got 2 cards in hand. I think we can either slam the One Ring or put the Yorion into hand. Hold up Pyroblast. I think we're going to slam the ring here. They've still got Forcible blue card in hand. Ugh, they do. That's a real pain. Maybe we got a little angsty there and we didn't have to do that. We do still have Yorion coming. And we can plow some creatures away. Ugh, we're going to lose our white source here. Might be our red source, they know we have a Pyroblast. Yep, they've gone for that, I'm sure. Maybe we're supposed to wait a turn and just put the Yorion into hand there. Okay, so we need to draw a Leyline Binding to get rid of this Grist. An Uro? Okay, I'll take an Uro. Green, blue, blue. Our opponent does not have life from the Loam yet, by the way, so we don't have to worry about recurring Wastelands yet. If we can find a green mana source next turn, we can put an Uro into play. And then our opponent will have to minus the Grist. Alright, still no life from the Loam, thankfully. Cloud Arbor. It's a One Ring that we can't cast. Interesting. We could just like bounce a token and try and get some cards going. Doesn't feel great. We could put Yorion into hand for later. You really just need to draw some cards here though. Just put Yorion into hand. Yep, the army keeps chugging. Now we can draw things like Terminus to get rid of all their creatures. There's 2 creature cards in their graveyard, so the Grist isn't the clock in that fashion. Alright, we have this covered with the Plow, but it's not pretty. I would love to draw a Terminus this turn. That would set me up nicely moving forward. But our opponent is definitely ahead here. It was not the miracle we wanted. It is, however, the One Ring, which is some real nonsense. So we're going to give this a go. Opponent doesn't have any card in hand. So we get protection for a turn. Then we can draw a card in our opponent's turn and hope it's not the Terminus. Yep, Grist keeps chugging. Still just 2 creature cards. Right, found a land. Can we find a Terminus, please? We did not find the Terminus there. We've got a Taiga, though. I think we have to plow the Leovold here. Yes, you get a card. But this turns on our ring to find us more cards. We should have played this Taiga first. A Brainstorm. Yeah, we should have played the Taiga first so we could Pyroblast. That was a real big punt. Like, we do have another Plow, but that's expending a lot of resources. Right, so now we play this out. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 damage. That's quite a lot. 9, 10 damage. Okay, let's draw some cards here. So there we go. Green, green, blue, blue. And we'll get rid of one of the plows, the ring, a couple of fetch lands, ponder. Right. I can't remember what lands we have, but we do have a Solitude that we can pitch when the time comes. I don't want this to resolve. We do have a Volcanic Island if we need to Pyroblast. A Wasteland. Okay, so we're probably losing our Taiga here. They know we have a Pyroblast in hand. They're going to sacrifice a creature to kill our Uro here. That's fine. Okay, so we're going to take a little bit of damage here. We've got the card advantage engine. We just need to make sure our opponent doesn't get the last bits of damage in before it's too late. I don't think we plow here. We're losing our Trop here. That's going to make it more difficult to cast our Uro. Understood. So we're taking some damage here. Comet, Stellar Pup. Interesting. I would like to draw some cards here. This is a pretty good find. How many tropical islands have we exiled? None. I guess it's a tropical island. And we cast the Carpet Flowers. And we get a second main phase. And we get to add 3 mana to our pool. So I think we add 3 green. Get rid of some lands. Just gives us some more life to work with. We get to put another land into play here. Gives us 3 mana available. Eye Pondering here. I think we need to... I would love to get rid of this. We haven't played a land yet here, actually. So we could play the Comet here. And start doing some stuff. What land do we have to fetch? We can get a Volcanic here, and we can hold up black mana still. Sorry, red mana. Choose a creature or player. I guess we're going to get rid of one of this Dryad Arbor, I suppose. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're not dead. We don't have a plow. We can do an emergency Solitude if we need to. We don't have a lot of time left on our clock, is the other worry. Alright, so they're going to sacrifice here. They're going to attack us for 3. We'll take 3. And we're going to go to 2. They're going to come at me or they're going to come at Comet? I think they should be coming at me here. I think I need to Pyroblast to put another card in my graveyard here. Yep, so the ring's going to hit us a little bit there. Christ, what do we need here? Green mana, I suppose, for the Euro. So, Cat Island, 1, 2, 3, 4. We cast a Ponder. Terminus is very nice here. But, oh God, analysis paralysis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is 5 and that's 4, so that's enough. So I think we just put Beanstalk, Terminus, Array. Actually, we'll just shuffle here. Okay, so we will roll this dice. We will kill one of these guys. We'll cast this from our graveyard. So green, green, blue, blue. Exile all the things. Gain some life here. We will... Our opponent's got 2 cards in hand. Okay, we're going to draw some cards here. I'm going to cast Yorion, so we use this. Blue, blue, this, and this. I'm going to flicker our One Ring and our Comet. Flicker this and this. So these cards come back. Going to clean up. We'll get rid of Carpet Flowers. Okay, so we've got Pyroblast and Plow this turn. Or Leyline Binding as well. Well, I should have Leyline Binding this Grist, actually. That was an error. What a mistake. I'm just playing really quickly because of the clock, and that might cost us the game. Time-wise here. So we're going to get rid of one of our guys here. Sure, goodbye to the Yorion. Actually, no, we want to have a Pyroblast to make sure this resolves. Sure, we take 0 damage from the ring. Draw for turn. Okay, we'll have white mana, please. Let's cast this. Get rid of the Grist. Do Comet stuff. Sure, we'll get rid of that creature. I don't care about that right now. Attack. Gain some life. Put this land into play. And we're not going to do anything else here. We're just going to pass and see if we can clock our opponent 3 times with this Euro in 2 minutes. Alright. Passing for our triggers. Attack. We've got Force of Will now, which helps. And Endurance. Sure, you can have an Endurance. Let's plow it. Oh, I should have activated Comet first. Because if I get the squirrels, I missed 2 points of damage there. Just really trying to make sure this game ends. So, Comet. Oh, I rolled a 6. I should have activated a couple more times. Oh, what error. I'm just playing so loose here because of how little time's on the clock. We can flash in this Solitude and win the game with it, hopefully, though. So, white. Shouldn't we have a second white here, do we? Do we have a Tundra in the deck? Oh no, we're running out of time here. We do have a Tundra, good. We have 9 damage on board and a Force of Will in hand. Say no. Go to attacks. Oh my god, we timed out. We had the win right there and we timed out. That's so frustrating. Oh, so yeah, this was a 4-1 league, but we just timed out on that last one. It was really annoying. Oh, the carpet was good, but then came back to take like a good 30 seconds off our clock. Oh dear, that's annoying. All right, so the deck was a 4-1. We're going to ignore that last round. That was just an annoyance, really. But the deck felt pretty good. We did lose to the control matchup where they were a 60-card deck. So they were a little bit tighter with what they were trying to accomplish. So they're more likely to hit the relevant cards and things like that, which I think makes sense, and it makes their sideboarding more impactful. I also think maybe we picked the wrong fight at one point as well. But yeah, the deck feels very solid, and you're just going to grind through anything that's going to be in the sort of mid-rangey ballpark. Like, I'd be happy to play against any of the decks we played today, apart from the control deck, really. I think other control decks can go and get around you, especially things with Minsk and Boo are quite potent too. And I think some of the really fast combo decks that go underneath you, because we've got like a bunch of Force of Wills, and that's it. And that might not be enough when we're an 80-card deck. So I think those are the matchups I'd be more scared of. But yeah, the deck feels very solid. And you're going to be seeing this deck all over the place. And people like me are going to be timing out with it all the time. All right. So that's the end of this one. If you would like your own deck on this channel, by all means get in touch via the Discord, or you can drop me a reply in the comments and we can sort it out for you. I do donation decks. Yeah, so we're done for today. So like and subscribe really helps the channel out. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.